What's up, fish keepers, and here we are today to introduce you to my Flowerhorn. To start off, I'm not really a Flowerhorn guy. I just got this guy from a deal from a fellow fish keeper in the next town that was moving away, along with my arowana and the entire aquarium set basically. But I already had an Oscar, so I was into cichlids, but not specifically Flowerhorns because they're kind of the most dangerous fish to keep in a community tank. So I'm not really that interested in them. Till I realized that having a single fish in a tank was actually a whole lot easier than taking care of an entire community. But in the case of Flowerhorns, that's a problem. There's no option, there's no middle ground where you could actually put them in a community tank. But there have been cases where a lot of people have tried that there are some Flowerhorn that they have successfully kept in a tank with larger fish such as arowanas, arapayamas, catfish, stuff that the Flowerhorn can't pick on, and they've been successful. And if you look closely, I could consider my tank also a small win because there's a featherfin catfish in there. I know it's a bit small for that catfish, but I bought it when it was the size of a pea. It was so small you could barely see it when it was hiding under the filter, the rocks, and now it's like, I don't know, 5 inches long maybe. And even that guy, the Flowerhorn, tries to pick on it from time to time, especially when it's feeding time. But despite all that, I've actually managed to grow in this guy. I've started to love him. I'm starting to like how he greets me every time I go inside the house because I have actually placed his aquarium by the doorway on the porch before I actually go into the house. He would greet me, would follow you till he reaches the end of your aquarium. So they're very interactive fish, and yeah, I've actually managed to like this guy now. And I guess you could say that relationships are best formed unexpected. He's with me for a few months now, ever since December. And when I got him, he looked like this. And clearly you can see that his cock, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, it's actually spelled K-O-K, is significantly smaller than what we could see here on the next picture, where you can see that the cock, or the nuchal hump, is actually bulging and pointing outwards compared to what we've seen earlier. As this is also a telltale sign that the Flowerhorn has been neglected. When it hasn't been taken care of, fed with the proper nutrients, its cock starts to slowly deflate, making it look laid back instead of bulging out front or bulging upwards. And what I like about this guy is that his cock is actually somewhat in coherence with the rest of his body, and it's not overly huge like some Flowerhorns right out there, which would pose problems given that if it's too big, the Flowerhorn would actually have a hard time trying to swim because of how heavy it is, and it would not be able to see upwards anymore, meaning that floater pellets would be irrelevant. So that's another thing you would look out for. And you can also see the pearling on his scales, and the fins are starting to grow back now because back then those were cut. They were having a hard time going back, and the color wasn't all as bright as it would be. It was dull. There was no traces of red. The pearls on the side weren't even visible. So it took a lot of like grooming and caring for this guy to look what he is right now. So I guess you could say it's a small win for me. And in this part of the video, you would probably be wondering what I'm feeding this guy. Well, I feed him with Okiko Platinum pellets. They're actually floating pellets. They're good for coloration, and as well as they're basically a great all-around staple food for Flowerhorn. Not only do they focus on the coloration as well as the growth of the cock, but as well as other vitamins necessary for Flowerhorn growth. And as fish keepers, we always try to take it up a notch, and that's why I added some enhancers, which came in the form of Angel Drop Super Growth. It has a special formula for Flowerhorn, as what the packaging says, and from what I could see, it actually does make a huge difference to the growth of the cock, and as well as the coloration of the Flowerhorn compared to I've bought various enhancers as well from local fish stores here, and I really couldn't find the obvious effects of it, so I stopped using them and tried finding other sorts of enhancers till I eventually found this one, and it seems like there's gains compared to what I've been using in the past few months. I've only been using this for a few weeks, and I could see the growth of the cock has been undergoing significant increase, so I guess it works for me. I'm not suggesting that you guys should buy this as well, but whatever works for you. As fish keepers, we all know that every tank is an experiment, every fish is an experiment, so you go try what best works for you. Just don't do it in excess. Do it in moderation. Just keep it safe. And basically, that's it. See you all in the next one.